Yep, thank you very much. And now we will have Patrick Bros, who is senior expert on APIs and data modeling design at Amadeus. Hello, Patrick. How are you?
Hello everyone, nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, so Manage APIs, one of the companies who have been really in the API space for a long time, pouring, I don't remember, a huge number of, let's say, flight, let's say, ticket booking in comparison. I don't remember the number. You will be able to see it, to tell us probably. Yeah, I'll let you on API governance, the 7 steps to select the right standard to design your API. Let's go, Patrick.
Thank you for that introduction. Yes, so yeah, we can discuss figures about that later on. I have some. Okay, so the idea is to speak about the first question that we have from our developers. Do you have standards to develop APIs? So basically, the idea is to give you the vision about what we have inside Amadeus from the developerportal.com, and basically when you want to implement as a customer and design an application based on our data. So basically, we have the portal. The portal allows you to access several kind of catalogs. So we have airline IT catalogs, hospitality catalogs, travel channel catalogs. But you have a new one which arriving recently, which is we call self-service. And the approach of the self-service is really a new generation of API which are very data-centric. And for that, of course, we deliver an API contract. So, but what will be the next vision for the future of Amadeus? The idea is really to continue to focus on data, and of course, we'll continue to deliver some solution with SDK and so on. But the vision will be to provide also some data catalog. So the API is still a channel for that, but we will integrate a new concept of data catalog. So this is basically to give you now what kind of standard that we can use to continue in that direction. So the vision is to consider that we will provide API, but also data definitions. So let's introduce myself. So Patrick Bros, working in Amadeus since 20 years now. And the proposal is basically to show you that in fact Amadeus is a large company to manipulate a lot of data around airport IT, hotel IT, and basically to help our customer to build some solutions to sell travel product. So the first question that we have is what kind of standard we can use to design API, and how to go further to become an open API platform. So this is the beginning of the question is what is a standard? And basically the standard is basically a norm, something that basically which is recognized by someone, but how to use that kind of heavy process, heavy things, when you want to have some challenge. So let me speak about a little story that we have recently implemented with the pandemic, where in fact we have to build elegant and future-proof API in a minimum of time. So when you speak about elegant, what does it mean? When you speak about future-proof, what does it mean? And in fact, we have some, we created some safe travel APIs, which are the internal APIs to create a widget for our customer, for our website of our customer, to validate some health document QR code related to the test of the COVID and so on. So basically, the challenge was really to manage a complex functionality, but to stay simple to use, and basically allowing our customer to integrate new features step by step, because in fact we have to improve regularly the functionality, because we have new data arriving, and of course we have to do that in a short time. So what is the question that we have from our API designer? So basically our designer are saying, okay, I want to deliver an API contract, but the question is, okay, do you have some standard to help me to do that? Because in fact, I need to learn, but in fact, I need also to deliver. So for sure, we have to deliver the API contract. And what I'm proposing to you is basically to see what are the constraints that you have when you want to deliver a contract, and to come back to the beginning. So basically, I will propose you to do the reverse of the path, to say, okay, what are the constraints, and then we'll go back to do it in proper manner. So basically, when you speak about standard, you need to have some standard about messaging, the format of the data that you exchange, the data itself, and also potentially some data structure that you can reuse, the cookbook of your company that you have to follow, and also some industry specification, and why not to start from the beginning, which is, okay, I have a requirement, I need to model something, and I have to follow a methodology to do that. So basically here, the idea is I have to deliver a contract, and what are all the steps that I have to do to achieve something? And of course, the idea is, okay, what are the tools, what are the capabilities that the governance can give it to me to deliver that kind of things. So I propose you to go to all of these steps one by one, and we start from the end. And the first is about the communication and message. So what are the standards that most of our company are using in, let's say, API industry, or let's say API concept? It's HTTP. But what is HTTP? Of course, it's something that someone are using every day with your browser and so on. But what is hidden behind, and what is the original concept? So the P is for the protocol, the T for the transfer, and HT for hypertext. So what does it mean? Protocol, of course, you have a header, you have to exchange some information between system, which is a transfer. But the most important things around that, when you look about the prehistory or the history of HTTP, is the concept of link and resources. And basically, when you navigate on the web, you can see that you have some pages and you have some links between those pages. So let me give you an example about the COVID-19. So basically, for example, we have a first resource, which is a report area, where you, in fact, in a specific area, in a specific country, in a specific city, you have some information about the COVID, and potentially in this area, you have some, let's say, some condition to verify a health pass. So basically, when you receive a health pass, you need to verify the condition associated to this country or to a specific area. And during the verification, potentially, you have to upload some document. So you see, you can consider that basically, you build the cartography of your resources related to your company, and the idea is potentially to use it as a web thanks to HTTP concept. So this is basically, after that, you have to manipulate via some, let's say, URL to access a specific resource, and potentially you can manipulate with the basic CRUD operation, CRUD for create, update, read, and delete related to your resources. So this is the concept of HTTP, the concept of resources. The second standard is the format. What kind of format should I use? And basically, the API concept is ready to do an isolation related to your programming language. So basically, you have to serialize the data in a specific format, and we have several kind of format. And thanks to the organization of IANA, registering any kind of media type. So you can find JSON, you can find XML, but they are also registering plenty of format that you can exchange during your HTTP call. And thanks to that, the web is able to give you any kind of resource in any kind of format. Of course, if the server is able to deliver. So we have the HTTP, we have the formats that you can negotiate during your HTTP call. And after that, we will see the data. So when you speak about data, you have different kind of data. You have your business data, but you have also some reference data. And when you speak about reference data, you have some standard. Okay, what kind of standard you have about data? You have ISO, United Nations, IATA for airline industry. So basically, when you go to ISO, you have retrieve a lot of standardized data, like the code of the country, the currency code, and so on. So there is concept of standards that are very useful to be used in reference data. But what happens when a new emerging problematic is driving with the concept of a disease like the COVID? But in fact, you have to implement also a new kind of reference data, basically, which are still under construction. So for example, the test type related to the COVID or the vaccine type. So basically, we discover that kind of new data to introduce in our reference data. And thanks to one of our partners to help us, a company called Riskline, they help us to to build the data around all the disease information, which was basically not our original, let's say, activity in the travel industry. So thanks to them, but basically, apparently, it's difficult to find nowadays some reference data about vaccine type, test type, and so on. So this is the reference data. But what about your own data, or the data that you want to basically to publish via your APIs? And for that, you need basically to produce some models. And it's the same story. Do we have models, standard models in the industry? And basically here, it's depending also on your business. And at your company level, the idea is, okay, perhaps I can pick and choose some, let's say, external data model. I can select in schema.org, in IATA.org, or opentravel.org. So here you have an example about a data model related to IATA. And you have explanation, what is an offer item, what is an order. But you see, for the COVID, there was nothing. And in fact, you have basically at your company to yourself implement your own data model. So basically, you created a new section, duty of care, related to disease. And basically, we created new models related to the disease area report, where in fact, basically, you can store a lot of information about the disease status, how many cases you have, how many infections, the evolution, the analytics of the disease in a specific area, in a specific country, in a specific city. And after that, basically, we will have basically some information related to each area. For example, in a specific country, you have some restriction to travel, you have some entry condition, exit conditions, and of course, what kind of documents are allowed to travel, and what kind of vaccine, even the model of a vaccine, have to be implemented in our system. So it's just to show you that, in fact, systematically, when you think API, you have to think about data first, and you have basically this concept of data modeling to implement. So either you can extract some data model from the industry or from some standard, or you have to build your own standard at your company level. And thanks also to Riskline to help us to design that kind of models, because in fact it was not our original, let's say, daily work. So you see, you have the data. Now you have also potentially your own data to manipulate, to build in your database, which is the data model. And the second step is, okay, do you have some cookbooks? Do you have some guidelines, standard guidelines in the industry to help me to design? And the idea is, yes, certainly you have some which are, let's say, neutral, like JSON-API.org, JSON-LD, but you have also some companies publishing their API stylebook on the industry, and you can find some from Atlassian, Cisco, Deliveroo, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, Red Hat, even the White House, Zalando, Adidas. So you see, even if you are not an IT company, potentially it's interesting to have a style book to help your designer to design and to produce and to industrialize the way to provide your APIs. So this is also what we have inside Amadeus. For the moment, they are under Amadeus.net, so inside our intranet. It's not published on the web, but trust us, it's basically one of the best, the state of the art of each of the best of design style guide. So when you have the style book, you have your cookbook to design, and of course you have to continue to identify what kind of standard you need, and there is some related to the API contract itself. So you have a documentation which is basically maintained by the Linux Foundation, so it's for REST JSON API. What is an Open API specification? What kind of format you have to follow? But historically, in the past, you have the same thing with the WSDL, which was maintained by WCC. Here, you will see in the future that Async API will be also a new kind of API contracts that we'll have to deliver when we'll have to combine not only query reply, but also the concept of event-driven architecture. So basically, that kind of document is a standard to help you to specify in a structured manner the different endpoints that I show you at the beginning with the HTTP request. You need to define each endpoint and the description and documentation of each operation related to those endpoints, and potentially some description about the body query, the body response, and some errors status related to HTTP. So this is let's say the standard related to the API contract. So we have defined up to here 6. Which one is the last one? The last one is basically the beginning. So you have a requirement from your customer. So how do you model the requirement? And let's take an old model which exists, which is a UML. UML is for Unified Modeling Language. So basically, it helps you to document basically what are the list of actors, what are the supported use case. You can provide some sequence diagram to explain the flow, to analyze what are the API flow, your internal, your external flow. But also you have some class diagram and state diagram. And state is quite interesting because the data is evolving during the time, and basically you have the capability to document that, at least during the analysis of the requirement. But this is just a tool. UML is not telling you what it is. Of course, it is a standard. Everyone can learn about it. It's let's say part of our, let's say, toolbox. So, but without any methodology to build something, you cannot implement something. So there is a methodology to follow, and it's important for you, and perhaps you can follow that kind of domain-driven design, which is quite interesting in terms of approach, because in fact, you start to identify a common language in your company related to your business. And basically, it helps you to speak the same language between all stakeholders of your company, between business people and technical people, and basically the source of truth will stay in the code, and even basically 10 years or 20 years after, you can basically understand what was the original problematic and what was the original solution by using the semantic and the definition of original concept. So, okay, but do we have a standard, another thing, which is related to architecture? So the question is valid. So here you see we have basically the format, the way to document your API contract. But what is an architecture style? And I put 0 for that because basically it's something which is interesting, because there is no standard, or there is perhaps some standard, but one which is a principle of REST. And basically REST JSON API are nowadays very popular, but what does it mean behind the scene? REST is not, for sure, it's not a standard, or it's a list of principles that you have to follow during your design. And how to explain REST to your designer? This is not simple. I have this just a little example because I cannot explain you REST in 20 minutes. So I don't want to spend more than 1 minute about it. So basically, of course, you can do some reference to the guy who invented the concept, Roy Thomas Felding. But for me, in fact, when I try to explain REST to a developer, I try to tell him, okay, what happens when you change your mindset during procedural programmation to object-oriented? So basically, the mindset is the same. The idea is to consider your API data-oriented, object-oriented, and then you manipulate your data. So this is basically, for me, the simplest way to explain what is the beginning of REST, to build and to do everything around your data, and basically your data is changing state, and basically you can follow the state of your data thanks to perhaps thanks to a state diagram. So this is, let's say, the missing part, which is not a standard, but which is a strong principle to follow. So let's now summarize where we are, and basically what will be your open API platform. So for sure, you have to deliver your API contract. At the beginning, you have your API requirement, and now you have to follow a path to build what? To build the cartography of your data resources, So this is basically the end point. If you take the catalog of all your API contract, at the end, it's a cartography of all the resources of your company. And when you speak about cartography, it's a cartography of resources. And for that, you need to build a kind of data model library to help the designer to basically to share some entity cross resources. This is the baseline, and you have basically to invent your own standard, as I showed you just before. Each time you have a new requirement to verify if you don't have something already in your data model library, and if there is nothing, you have to invent it and to add it to your library to be used later on. So what is a model of vaccine, or model of health document? Of course, your API style book is part of the toolbox to help your API designer to design APIs in the same manner across your company. Of course, UML and domain-driven design are some techniques that are helping you as kind of standard to design a proper in industrial manner your API contract. And REST basically is here to accompany you as a principle of architecture. And if you have to follow another concept, you can continue to reuse the deliverables that you have. But those deliverables should not stop too much the delivery of your contract. And this is important to consider that around that, you have to provide a kind of code of conduct. And this is basically the concept of API or data model governance, to provide a code of conduct of all your API designer, basically to follow some, let's say, some important steps to be sure that you are coherent and you have a kind of homogeneity during your design, which is basically one of our major requirements from our API consumer. So this is basically here a kind of summary of all standards that you can use during your API design. So I finished the presentation, or let's say the talk. So I'm very happy to answer your question if you have some.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick. We just have 1 minute for question. I'll just ask you, like, what was the, let's say, on the cultural side at Amadeus, like how it has been easy or not to let's not impose, but actually to follow this like design guidance and principles, open API descriptions, like how it has been. It has been smooth, or did you find any like cultural issues that are happening?
In fact, you have the chance inside Amadeus to design API since 25 years, so it's not new in our company. So basically, it's part of our DNA to design APIs, and basically internally we know the problematic of data friction between those APIs, and we know ourselves some problematic between our own consumer. During the previous talk, the speakers speak about internal versus external, but in fact, all the bad experience that you have internally, you have to consider that you have the risk to provide that kind of bad experience for the consumer. So this is a good argument saying, okay, perhaps internally you have to manage some problematic, but you are in the same company. So imagine what will be the behavior of the customer. So basically the motivation is there to tell them, okay, you like to have something nice when you want to consume an API, so please take the shoes of the consumer during the design.
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. We have a comment from Rahib saying that, yeah, it was really helpful. So thank you very much, Patrick, and see you at next API conference.
Super, nice. See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Perfect.